In 30 seconds, you will know whether these two bike lights are enough for mountain biking. Both bike lights are almost identical in size and weight, where this one is 1200 lumens and the other one is 1600 lumens. The more powerful light has also got a battery with twice the capacity, but the type of LED is exactly the same. The lights produce a similar light beam, with the only difference that the 1600 lumens light is a bit brighter. I have the 1200 lumens light on my helmet and the 1600 lumens light on the handlebar, and this is absolutely enough for occasional MTB riding in pitch black darkness. But they cannot be compared with monster lights with multiple LEDs and external battery packs, which is common to see amongst mountain bikers around here. On the plus side, however, these FENIX lights are very robust and hassle-free to operate. The unique selling point is the replaceable batteries, which means that you can carry a spare battery in your pocket to keep your angst in check. So now you know, but if you want to, let's get nerdy and do some very unnecessary tests. And I also got a rear backlight to test as well, and a couple of helmet mounts. Before starting with the tests, it's important to understand that almost all lights will adjust to a much lower power level than the advertised number of lumens. FENIX provides with these diagrams, and the takeaway from them is that the 1600 lumens light will shine a little bit brighter, but also for much longer. In this time lapse, you will find that the 1600 lumens light will start to adjust the power level after only 10 minutes. After 30 minutes, the 1200 lumens light will follow, and both lights will stay like this until almost 2 hours has passed. Then the 1200 lumens light is slowly dying, while the 1600 lumens light will continue to shine brightly for the remainder of this time lapse. In the woods, it's possible to see the difference in the power levels between the two lights. It's not a huge difference, the LEDs are after all identical, but there is a slight difference. Both lights point straight ahead. This is 1200 in turbo mode. This is 1600 in turbo mode. 1200, 1600, 1200, 1600. Both lights. Next, I'm going to a nearby field to find out if there's also any difference between the shape of the light beams. This is 1200. This is the 1600. 1200, 1600. Both together. It's not a huge difference in how wide the beam is it? I think I can notice that the 1600 light is a little bit brighter. Not by much, but... This unfortunately does not show very well what the light beam looks like. It's time to call in the helicopter.
Abandon rescue mission. We've got some bike lights to test. Roger that.
Okay, that's a shitty camera up in the air, and it doesn't do the lights justice. I experienced the lights much brighter than this, but you can see the shape of the light beam. Photos work better. There is some wide light, but most of the light is concentrated into a hotspot in the center of the beam, which is not ideal for mountain biking. Both lights have about the same shape of the light beams, and it's quite obvious that these lights were not designed solely with MTBs in mind, but rather for road or commuter bikes. Dedicated MTB lights have a wide homogeneous beam. This doesn't make the lights useless though. On the contrary, the produced light is pleasant to the eyes, and they are bright enough for casual mountain biking in pitch black woods. But with a different lens, they could have performed better. Despite the quite narrow beam, I think it's enough for these types of woods. There's a lot of light. That's important, of course, and the temperature of the lights are very pleasing to the eyes. Let's get down to a road and check how it looks like there. I would not go any lower than the high setting in these types of trails. It's lots of leaves today, and I really need to see what's happening beneath the leaves there. That's why it's so good with two different lights, one on the helmet and one on the handlebar. Okay, right now we're on a commuter trail, like a fire road, and as you can see, the light beam is just wide enough to hit the road, but there's not much light on the sides. There's a little bit of light spilling onto the sides, and I think that light is for road bikes and commuter bikes to see traffic signs, stuff like that. So it's like only good for peripheral vision. It's a bit of a shame really. I wish this bike light on the handlebar at least would have just a little bit wider beam, because it's such a good light. It would be great if there was a mountain bike version of this light with a different type of lens to remove that hot spot as you see in the middle there, to make the beam just a little bit wider. It still works though. I will use this as my basically only trail bike light, because it is so convenient and there is so much light coming from these two small devices. I think this GoPro camera is very bad in low light, so it will not be very good images here. You have to trust me when I say that it's enough for these types of trails.
There is a hack in the bike light world. It's called a DC fix hack, which involves a small piece of self-adhesive window film. It's the milky version that you want for this. By cutting out a small piece and stick it to the bike light in a strategic location, you can modify the light beam somewhat. It basically acts like a diffuser, and my hope is to easen up the hotspot somewhat.
These are both lights in high setting. 1 centimeter of film.
This hack sort of works, but it isn't a replacement for a different lens. It's still a hack. The temperature of the lights is advertised as 6000 kelvins, which is on the cooler side of the spectrum, but I experienced the lights warmer than that, which is a good thing. I tried a number of different ways to actually measure the color temperature. I tried a few phone apps, but they were completely off. Matching the light with the video light proves to work better. Doing this manually gives me 4700 Kelvin, and using the built-in matching feature in the video light app gives the exact same result. I also tried a hack by getting the color temperature of my drone, and that ended up showing 5400 kelvins. I trust my video light more, but let's agree on that the light is a 5000 Kelvin light. As you can see, there's a slight green tint to the bike light. In the video light world, this is a sign of bad quality LEDs that have a low CRI value. That's a big no-no when making videos, but for a bike light I don't think this matters at all. There could also be a coating on the lens to produce this color intentionally, to make the light work better out in the woods. I got 2 helmet mounts from FENIX that I wanted to try out. The first one would probably sit snug on the helmet, but it's attached to the helmet with zip ties, which isn't ideal. It will affect the MIPS liner on my helmet, and the zip ties will also probably eat into the foam of the helmet, which makes me reluctant to use this mount. The other mount is a better alternative for me, since it's compatible with GoPro adapters, and I already have an adapter that comes with my helmet from Bell. As I understand it, this mount really is meant for mounting the light to a handlebar. But by removing this extension arm, it sits perfectly on my helmet, and the light can be adjusted up and down. I just wish it came with a GoPro screw, which makes it easy to adjust the light on the fly without the needs for any tools. I have already covered the handlebar mount in the previous video where I reviewed the 1200 lumens light in detail. I think FENIX should take a closer look at how GoPro designs their handlebar mounts. GoPro has been doing this for decades and knows how to build sturdy mounts that will fit beefier mountain bike handlebars better. The FENIX handlebar mount is included with the light and works well enough, but it's just not as sturdy as a GoPro mount. I also got this rear bike light to review, which you probably need on a mountain bike when going to and from your local trails. It comes with some mounts which I don't really understand how to use, but I went with this strap in the end, and again it shows that these products are not specifically aimed at mountain bikes. There's a dropper on this bike and I need to fit the light on the seat tube, and the strap is barely long enough. Once in place, it will not come off though, and it's easy to reach and operate the on-off button when seated. I have used this light every day for a month now and I still haven't charged it. It's been covered in mud and it's been used in heavy rain too, so it seems to hold up pretty well. I don't feel the need to get any other rear backlight. This seems to be good enough and it's well priced. That about sums up everything. I hope you got something useful from all of this. See you in the next video.